Hello and thanks for joining the midweek edition of Journalist Hangouts. I'm Ayodele Ozubaku. Today on the program, Senator Ndume dares Oshiomhole. APC over Senate presidency rolls out 9-point agenda. Court nullifies Adeleke's nomination for Osun State governorship election. And later on the show, Obasanjo cancelled PDP to purge itself of bad eggs. I'll be hanging out with Mayor Akikpelu and Sam Ibemere. So if you are ready, let the hangout start now. The ground is being gradually wet for a titanic contest for the leadership of the 9th National Assembly in June. After a purported zoning arrangement and adoption of some lawmakers for certain positions, the All Progressive Congress, APC, others are not buying into the plans. For the Senate presidency, the senator representing Borno South, Ali Ndume, has refused to shelve his ambition for the party's choice, Senator Ahmed Lawal, the current Senate leader. Senator Ndume, also a former Senate leader, dared the leadership of the APC on Tuesday by unfolding his 9-point agenda as a candidate for the Senate presidency. Now, the race is on and hot, or so it seems. Gentlemen, Mayor, getting interesting. A lot of people will quickly refer to the deja vu of 2015. We know what happened when the House is divided. Now, the APC, is not as if the APC, they have the majority, the simple majority, which is required to have the top positions in both chambers. But let's talk about the Senate first.
I think Senator Ali Ndume is not a good party man. Why he's not a good party man is because 4 years ago, he did the same thing. Senator, if you remember, Senator Ali Ndume is a very strong member of the Saraki camp.
Yeah.
And he was rewarded with the Senate leader. It was later, after so much pressure on Saraki and the leadership of the Senate, that was when he was removed and Lawan was brought in as Senate leader. He's doing the same thing again, and I don't think that is good as a party man. Having said that, I think there is a slight difference this time because 4 years ago, the party didn't take a decision.
They did.
No. What I'm saying is that they didn't show seriousness early enough.
There was a shadow election.
Yes.
Or that they were,
yes.
they
There
were
was a shadow election.
Yes, they were
outsmarted
because they did not follow the process they should follow. And I will tell you, and they are making the same mistake now.
Okay.
The first step is for the party to decide the leadership of the Senate and then inform members. But when you do that, the first thing you need to do is for the chairman of the party and the National Working Committee and some top leaders, like the leader of the party, to call the senators from the Northeast, the areas where you want to put the Senate leader, and try to discuss with them. You understand? It's just like this. Instead of shadow election, you formally tell them to say, okay, the party has decided that Senator Lawan should be our leader, should be the Senate president. And then you try to carry members of that caucus in the Northeast along. It is after you do that, you call the entire Senate, your senators, to brief them and tell them the need why Senator Lawan should be the Senate president. When you finish that, the chairman of the party and some leaders of the party will reach out to the PDP to tell them to say, look, these are our candidates. We want to work together. We want to have a smooth election, and these are the committees that we are going to give you so that you can go along with us. That is how you do things in the National Assembly. The chairman of the party does not understand it. It's different when you're a governor. You have executive powers, and you are the governor. You can do what you like. In the National Assembly, it's a different ball game. The Senate president is just the first among equals. It's just the first among equals. So you cannot be giving directives. And don't forget that in this same Senate, you have a lot of people who are two-time governors, who were even governor before Oshiomhole. So you can't give them directives. And they should be careful. Because what happened in 2015 can repeat itself. Because what you just need is for a bloc, to say, okay, we don't want to go along, which was what happened 50 years ago. They just need about 20.
It was even 7 from APC.
That's what I'm saying.
Voted for Senator Saraki.
No, that's what I'm saying.
7 from APC.
No,
and
at
the
that
rest
time, because at that time,
50.
the others were not there.
Yes.
They made sure that. But in this time, if you have in the hall, you need about 20 to defect, and they can get that because if, for example, somebody like some people, if Ali Ndume, for example, was able to convince some members within the APC to say, look, I'm a better candidate than Lawan. And for whatever reason, they believe that, we are ready to do more business between Ndume than Lawan. They just need to reach out to PDP and do the same thing and say, okay, we'll offer you guys Deputy Senate President. Get the 45, add this 20 to it, and they will still win. But I don't see that happening. I think Lawan will still be Senate President.
Now, the National Assembly members, some people are actually saying that allow the legislators to choose the leaders. Some are saying that no, political parties will actually set the ball rolling from the whatever consensus they meet and whatever they go to the National Assembly to do on the 6th of June or the 9th of June, that will just be a formality. I spoke with one minority leader. He said in 2003 that his party just called him. The party leader just called him and they just told him that he is going to be the minority leader, and they prepared him before the resumption of the National Assembly. That's the way it has always been.
That's the tradition.
That's the tradition. That one thing that is happening now, Oshomole has made it clear that they are not ready to give any position apart from that committee on.
He says he's leaving anything that has to do with anything that is reserved for PDP is going to be for the minority.
Yes. But I think there's
there's another
a committee that is public accounts committee.
It's usually given to
the opposition
yes.
naturally.
Yes.
That they are not ready to concede, and PDP has tasted, and they've tried that position of that it's possible to actually sabotage these people, make sure their ranks are broken, and get maybe the number 2 position if they are not even going to go for the main position right now.
Yeah, Ayo, before I get into the main issue which you raised, I'd like to react very quickly to what our colleague said. I don't think we should be in a hurry, to write off Ndume. By that I mean his position, trying to throw his heart, into the ring. I think there's something symbolic about Ndume's move. And I like to see it from three perspectives. The first is competition. I think Ndume wants the process to be competitive. And you will agree with me that there's something about competition. It helps bring out the best. Secondly, I think that this symbolism in what Ndume is trying to do by throwing his hat in the ring is also to say to Nigerians that the issue of who holds an office should be based on character, should be based on competence, should be based on capacity. And that's why he took pains to talk about his 9-point agenda and all that. And I think that is good for us. Then, thirdly, the other symbolic thing about his move is that it speaks of dissent. I think that dissent or disagreements are a key driver in democracy. Okay? You need to disagree, and that's what democracy offers you. So Ndume throwing his hat in the ring is basically saying to every person that within this culture, within this system of government that we have chosen, I should be allowed to express myself, and that's what he has done. I think it is within his right, to compete. You talked about a titanic, development. We might just have an anticlimax at the end of the day, where, we find that the leadership will just emerge without a lot of crisis. But having said that, I think that the issue of leadership, National Assembly leadership, which you talked about, is an intricate thing. I think that all the stakeholders in the game have a point. For the party, it is well within their right to say, look, there has to be party discipline. This is the position that we hold, and this is what we think should happen, because as the ruling party, we have majority, even if it is a simple majority. A lot of people agree that it's not overwhelming. So the party has every right to tell its its members that this is what we want, and because it's going to give us, a competitive edge. For the opposition party, before we got into this program, we agreed that, hold it, at least as far as the Senate is concerned, with over 40 members, or 45, I don't know what the exact figure is, about 44, with that figure, if you don't have cohesion within the APC setup, you might just have an upheaval within the House, where all its members, where PDP, assuming that the members decide to vote on block, decide to go for any of the positions. If you don't have a House that is cohesive, and I'm referring to the APC, then we're going to have a problem on our hands. And that's why the that's why the PDP guys are playing a mind game of saying, look, we are interested in this thing. Because they know that if they are able to walk into the APC House and dismember them, as the case, maybe, they might just have the opportunity to pick one or two, prime positions within the House. I think it's all about horse trading. For those of us who are on the outside, we can say, yes, the ruling party should go ahead. They worked out for it, so it's payback time. But once the legislators get into the National Assembly and shut the doors, they believe that it is well within their rights to pick their members. And I think that we should take cognizance of that. Anything could happen. But I think, personally, that the ruling party has done well in terms of reaching out. I've seen Lawan, reach out severally to members of the opposition. I have seen Gbajabiamila reach out to members of the opposition. I think that a lot of groundwork has been done. A lot of lobbying has taken place. And that's why I think that we might just have an anticlimax at the end of the day where instead of...
Yes, I believe that won't be...
On the contrary to what he said, anticlimax, we saw what happened in 2011. We saw what happened in 2015. It started from the 7th Assembly under Tambuwal. We saw what happened. And since that time, it has always been a game to watch. Before that time...
In fact, it was the Tambuwal card that,
yes,
that Saraki people followed.
Yes.
But you see, why that won't happen this time? Why that won't happen this time is that's why I said the party very early decided on those that they want them to occupy those positions. What they need to do is to make sure that the key people, those who are important, they've taken Lawan to the president. The president, unlike 4 years ago, is more involved. He's not doing everything he should do. Because 4
years ago, the president said he can work with anybody.
Which was a broad signal.
Right now, he has not been categorical. It
that's
is Adams Oshiomhole that's spoken.
But he has received,
Mr. President has not said anything.
Lawan, he has received Lawan,
yes,
and he has agreed. He has agreed.
Ndume said he has visited Mr. President too. To tell him about his ambition.
You know the difference in Ndume. You know the difference in Ndume.
Okay.
Forget to do it. Ndume cannot be Senate President. You can take that to the bank. And why he cannot be Senate President?
We don't have a crystal ball here.
I'm telling you that. Why he cannot be Senate President is because he's not a good party man. That's what I told you. The crisis started 4 years ago. Ndume was an arrowhead of that crisis. The crisis that almost ruined the party, that caused a lot of problems, that the party was not in control of the National Assembly for 4 years. Ndume was the arrowhead of that thing. So you cannot expect the same party to allow you to do the same thing 4 years after. Because what happened was that when Saraki decided to go against, when Lawan was picked, and they were still trying to do that, Ndume was one of those who refused that, no, we are going to be with Saraki.
House leader before.
That was why he was made, that's what I'm saying, that was, it was made the Senate leader when in that coup. It was later, when the party kept putting pressure on them, the party now insisted that both Lawan and Gbajabiamila must come back. Dogara agreed earlier than Saraki, and Gbajabiamila became the leader. But it took time. It was when the crisis was getting out of hand that Saraki felt, okay, let us make peace. And then they removed Ndume.
At that time, the Deputy Senate Presidency...
That's what I'm saying. They removed Ndume and they brought back Lawan. So the party cannot reward Ndume for his disloyalty and how he sabotaged the party 4 years ago. So let's forget about it. He's just deceiving himself. I've been sure. That's what I'm telling you that. I don't know, but you see, that does not mean that there won't be problems, because I've explained to you that it depends on what people want to do. But you see, all these things that we're saying, why it could be anticlimax, like he said, is that it just takes the president. It just takes the president to invite Ndume to the villa
And reassure him.
and tell Ndume, not reassure, and tell Ndume that, distinguished senator, the party has decided Lawan will be our Senate president. I don't want what happened 4 years ago to happen again.
Which from antecedent I
Wait,
told you
see,
before
I'm just
we
telling you
started
that-
the program.
I
told you that
I'm just
Mr.
telling you that-
President
no.
is not likely to do this.
No, it's not like
The kind of
but he
character
could do it.
that you he could, but
He
he's not
could.
likely to do it.
But
he
he
won't
could.
be seen. He
What
won't
I'm
want
saying-
to be seen
what
as
I'm saying is
somebody
that- what I'm
that is
saying- what I'm saying is that if he decides to do that, this
Yes.
thing will
fizzle out
fizzle out.
automatically.
Nobody can face the president and say no, sir, because the president has resources and instruments of state to make you do what he wants.
Yes.
So all this game, I think they will be able. I believe that the party will be able to convince. You can take that because those who are the arrowhead of this
Adams
thing.
Oshomole.
No, you see, there are other people in the party.
The
Are you aware that?
the-
Are you aware
the
that?
party leader? Not even.
Do you know that
Ashwaju
Ndume
Bola-
said that if the president or Asiwaju Bola Tinubu called him,
Yes.
that he will?
Yes.
Oh, is Asiwaju still not alive?
Yes.
He's alive. You think Asiwaju will not call him? Asiwaju will still call him. Well, that's what I'm telling you, that he already said that if the president or Asiwaju says, don't run, I will not run. And I can assure you that will happen.
Okay.
Don't forget that Asiwaju made a statement himself that those who don't agree with the position of the party should leave the party. It is not to everybody. It is for members of the House of Rep from Southwest who do not want to agree with Gbajabiamila. Are you aware of that? Asiwaju was sending that message to members of the party in the Southwest, in his own area, because there are some people in the Southwest who do not agree with Gbajabiamila.
I think you're the one basically interpreting for Asiwaju. What most of us took away from what was reported in the media was that he spoke within a larger context. Now, you're making these clarifications, and that is fine. But I wouldn't want to believe you because you're not his spokesperson.
No,
If it's coming from,
maybe he's doing
if it's
interpretative
if
journalism.
it's coming from today,
Which is-
Rahman, I will understand.
which is
But-
legal.
yeah,
Yes.
very fine. But I think the beauty of what the likes of Koje, the likes of Ndume are doing is to bring in some vibrancy within the entire process. I don't think that trying to exercise
the dimension we took yesterday.
Yeah.
That is not the
Sam,
tradition.
Sam,
Yeah,
you are practicing
Sam,
presidential system of government.
Sam,
In
I want to-
America,
Sam, I want to
the
bring
leader
you-
of the
I want to
opposition, they have
bring you-
become
No,
the speaker.
let me hear you.
I want to bring you into the dimension of yesterday.
Okay.
Owele Anayo-Rochas Akorocha actually called that, look, that thing should go to the southeast.
As in,
Which
what
of
you
the
go to the South?
which of the
Senate
positions
presidency.
It's
should
a
go to the
joker.
southeast?
Did the Southeast vote for APC?
Wait.
It doesn't
so
work
he
that
said
way.
For
No,
the
but
tripod.
Mr. President has
No,
talked about inclusive
that's
votes.
not tripod.
For
If
the
you
tripod
don't vote
to
for a
stand.
party, you didn't vote for a party.
Mayor, let me
You
moderate
voted for
this.
PDP.
Mayor, I'm asking Sam.
Okay.
Yeah, that Nigeria is standing on the tripod for balance, for equity, for justice, that the Senate presidency, the Southeast legislature should be considered. What do you make of this?
I think there are sensitivities that we should not run away from. Given our history and what has transpired in the last over 50 years, it's clear that there has been very deliberate and strategic attempts made to hold this nation together. Okay? So when the likes of Okorocha get up and speak and say there is need for equity, there is need for balance, he sure knows where he's coming from. It's about negotiation, basically, and that's what politicians do all the time. If you don't position yourself to be recognized, people just sweep you out. So even though within him, Governor Okorocha knows that an Easterner is not going to emerge as the Senate president, but no, I think it's very clear.
Power is
One,
not
no, I think it's very clear. One, we need to look at the figures. Okay, we need to look at the power equation at the moment. You have a Mr. President who is from the Northwest. You have the Northeast that delivered, I think, the second highest votes. Okay, these things come into play when you want to allocate power. All right, so it's clear why the likes of Lawan are being positioned, and it didn't start today. It dates back, and I think the party is basically trying to compensate Lawan for his patience. Apart from the fact that the zone where he comes from delivered the second highest vote.
Thank you, Sam, for being objective.
Yeah.
Because I have my reason for asking you directly that particular question. Mayor, in all this, Femi Gbajabiamila for the House of Representatives, some of his colleagues that I had to interact with, they're not too comfortable.
Yes.
But he's qualified, he's eminently
He's
qualified,
overqualified.
he's overqualified. In fact, it's one of the best materials
You know the problem?
in that house.
You know the problem?
Which
you know the problem with Baja? Baja is a very brilliant guy. But he has to understand that in the National Assembly, you have to play the politics of National Assembly. I expect like Baja. Baja is a 5-time legislator.
Honestly.
His experience, he used to be the leader in the Senate. He understands the proceedings. We must not
His contributions.
We must not sacrifice brilliance and excellence for bad PR. His problem basically is bad PR. You know, when you are, like I said, the Speaker and the President of the Senate is just one among equals. All of them were voted at the same time. So you must find a way to be able to, it's like your colleagues are relinquishing their own authority for you. You must have a way of carrying them along.
Everybody.
You understand? And I expect that Baja is brilliant enough. For example, I will give you an example. I think that the declaration he made, to me, was a mistake. Was unnecessary. You understand?
You think so?
Yes, that's what I believe. You see, when you are contesting for the
Some
Speaker,
people feel that the stakes are higher now.
let me tell you, when you contest,
when innovation must come into...
No, when you contest for the Speaker, having a TV, a live broadcast, does not serve your purpose. What is your purpose? Your colleagues. I expected him to be going to those colleagues, having meetings with them every day.
No, but you're assuming that
he has been doing
I'm not saying he's not doing that, but what I'm saying is that is more important than
the live telecast.
A PDP senator said he has visited him twice. I mean, a PCP
I
rep
know,
member
he's doing that. What
he has been to his
that
house
is
twice.
That's what I'm
to
saying.
visit him,
That is what
he's
is
taking his neck
important.
for him.
That is what is important.
Most
you see,
important.
what he needs to do,
I understand
is
you.
to try to get a lot of power brokers. You see, there are power brokers everywhere. So if you get a power broker in the Northeast, a power broker in the Northwest, a power broker in the Southwest, to talk to their own members of rep to say, look, this is where the party is going. This guy is qualified, he's brilliant, he can do this job. Let's go there.
All right. Still to come. Court nullifies nomination of Osun State governorship election. That's Mr. Adeleke. We'll be right back after this time out. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is Journalist Hangout. For those of you that have been asking me about Babajide Kolade Otitoju, he's going to join us very soon, sooner than you expect. I can tell you, Babajide is somewhere, and he's going to join us very, very soon. In politics, you win some and you lose some, no matter your capacity to fight political battles. For the candidates of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the September 2018 governorship election in Osun State, Senator Ademola Adeleke, it has been a mixed grill of fortune in his recent political travail. 2 weeks after a favorable election petition tribunal judgment, an FCT High Court sitting in Buhari nullified the nomination of Senator Adeleke as PDP candidate for the governorship poll. Justice Uthman Musa, who delivered the judgment, said he is not qualified to participate in the poll since it does not possess the minimum education requirements as prescribed by the Constitution. Some legal entanglements for Osun West Senator, you will see. This was a pre-election matter.
Yes.
And even till 1 week before the election, there's been, court cases, litigations and everything, pronouncement on this. Now, but after the election, after the supplementary election, Buhari, and they came back and APC won narrowly by 300 and something votes, and Governor Itola was declared the winner of that election. And they went to court, PDP went to court, and in a split decision, they proclaimed Senator Adeleke, so rooms for adjournment, for appeal. They went to the court of appeal, and it's still at the court of appeal level. Now, this is like a clincher.
No, I don't think this is a clincher. This is just a distraction. There is nothing in this judgment, as far as I'm concerned. And I will tell you why it's a distraction.
Okay.
The real case that we should look at is the appeal between Itola and Senator Adeleke. I will tell you why.
Okay,
I will tell you why. That is the real one that we should wait for. This one is just a distraction because I believe that a superior court will nullify that judgment.
Why?
Ab initio, I will tell you different reasons. One, there is a judgment subsisting, which was in September of last year before the election, saying that Adeleke is qualified to contest. There's a judgment like that. And you see people
Like that, or you're very
there's
sure?
a judgment.
There's
I'm
a
very
judgment.
sure of that. There's a judgment.
judgment.
And you see, the problem with some people is that if they don't like a judgment, they will still go to a court. You understand? And then won't try to argue the same cases. That's the same problem that I always having with Kashamu in Ogun.
It's
The
basically
law,
shopping.
the law is very clear. They're very clear about it. If there is a judgment, whether you like that judgment or not, the only way you can set that judgment aside is to go to appeal. By going to another court, you are just window shopping. And why you are window shopping is because it is right in law. If there is a coordinate judgment in one court, you understand, a similar court cannot entertain that case
Have they
again.
decided to
That is the
entertain
law.
this?
That is right in law. It's no doubt about it. What happened in Bari was a travesty of justice. And that is why our judicial system, that is the way they ridicule themselves and turn
But
themselves
what
into...
if the Court of Appeal is saying that?
No, because
Look,
let me tell you, there
ab
are
initio,
other
you
things.
don't have the minimum
let me tell you
qualification
why.
to become the governor.
No, let me tell you why that cannot be. Apart from that judgment, during this case, WAEC came to say in court that Adeleke participated in that thing. That was the only authority recognized by law that can determine whether you are qualified to sit for an exam or whether you sat for that exam is WAEC.
But the time,
WAEC came.
Adeleke claimed to have sat for this exam
You don't
in
understand.
1981.
You don't understand.
They said there was no exam like that. There
No,
was
no. WAEC came to court.
Yeah, I know why I came
was
to
part of the
court. But as at the date,
The
he
principal of
said
the
he
school.
sat down. That as at the
WAEC
time,
didn't say that.
did you read the judgment?
I've not read the judgment, but I followed the case. What Mayor said concerning WAEC is correct from what has been reported. The other point that should be noted, you talked about shopping and all that, which politicians do, either to deceive themselves or to buy time and all that. We've been told, and that's out there in the open, that the court that delivered this judgment is not any different. A court of coordinate jurisdiction with the one that delivered the December.
one in
December.
September.
Is it
So
September?
what
or
if the
December?
Court of Appeal
September.
is putting the two
You don't
judgments?
understand.
Yeah, fine.
You should not have given a judgment when there is a
You should allow the Court of Appeal to
what you're
talk.
saying, I've always conversed on this forum that we should allow our institutions to mature. I really don't have any qualms about anybody going to court. The general saying is that the wheel of justice grinds very slowly. It might seem that, like you said, a travesty, but because we have a room to test this further at the Court of Appeal and even the Supreme Court, I think that we should be patient to allow the entire court process, to take place. We, as unlearned, they say we are not learned, can only make contributions on the basis of the information that is out there. I have also read that because this is a pre-election matter, the 180-day window.
It's even time bad.
Yeah,
Yes.
even time bad because,
It's time bad.
and that's the argument. That's what the
There are
defense
different
counsel.
things that
That's
affected
what
the case.
that's what the defense
It's time
counsel is
bad.
saying. Now
There's a suspension judgment.
So we don't even know if this case proceeds to the appeal court. If the appeal court is going to confirm that the case itself is time bad, and the fact that a court of coordinate jurisdiction had earlier delivered judgment on the matter earlier. So I think we should be patient to see what the appeal court is going to say on this matter. But the interesting thing overall for me is that what is playing out in Osun, I liken it to drama, of some sort. It's been there. Osun is very strategic. It's gone from one winner to a loser, from a loser to a winner, and all that. And I think there are desperate attempts by all the key players within our polity to ensure that they don't lose out on this matter. So whatever strategy you feel you can deploy to mark time, to cause distraction, you go ahead and do it, as long as it is legal. I think that is what is playing out
That's what's
here.
playing out.
You know, so the defense counsel has come out to say, look, we have 3 reasons why this case cannot stand. But that is talking to you and I, who are ordinary laymen. That has to be tested, you know, at the appeal court level. I want to agree with you that the main issue is the one between Oyetola and
To me, that's the main- that's the main
Senator
one we should wait
Ademola Adeleke.
That's the one we should wait for.
Morally, should we be talking about WAEC results when somebody is putting forward that this is the qualification I've had from so time, and is it not a kind of indictment on the part of INEC that you've submitted your form and they are meant to investigate all your claim, INEC, DSS, and all these people that they go through the clearance?
If you look at that thing properly, what the legal people, what the lawyers of Senator Adeleke, what they are saying is that the law, you see, I used to tell people, you may not like the law, but that's the law.
It's an ass.
You may not like it, but that's the law. People don't like the fact that you cannot sue a governor, even when it is proven that he has done ridiculous things. They will say he has immunity. We may not like it, but that is the law. In this case, what the law said is that you must have, not that you must have seen to have passed that WAEC. You must have seen to have attempted to be able to attempted it. And that is what the law said. And their own argument is that WAEC came to say, yes, he participated in this.
Are you aware of the fact that a school principal was arrested
Yes.
in Ede?
Yes.
The principal was
yes,
arrested.
the principal,
Are you aware
yes, but the same principal came to court and said they never denied that he didn't go to that school, but that in terms of the result of it, that the mistake. I'm talking about what they said in court.
How come he sat for NECO in 2017?
You don't understand what I'm saying? You don't understand. The principal that you said,
something is
the
not
principal
clear.
that you said went to school. I agree.
How come he sat from NECO? It was said he
That
sat
is-
for NECO in
you see-
2017. If you have your results intact,
But that is not what the court is claiming. The court said it does not have the qualification to contest election. And what his lawyers are saying is that based on what transpired in court, what WAEC said, because the only authority that can say whether you attended WAEC, you understand, you participated in WAEC, is WAEC. And WAEC came to court to say this person participated, and they brought certified true copy to court. So if they do that, who are you to change the law? That's not the law. You have to follow the law. Whether you are happy that the person has the kind of morality or result that you expect, the court has spoken now. No, I'm not saying the court has spoken.
Whether they went through the process or not,
that's why there's an appeal. That's why an appeal. But what I'm saying is that it is right in law. That when the
court of appeal will determine that.
No, it's not. No, that one is known in law.
It's not in law.
That if there is a coordinate, if a court of coordinate jurisdiction make a pronouncement, you cannot. Another court cannot entertain it. It is law.
That will be left for the appeal court to deal.
Yes, they will even say it in their judgment. We've seen judgment that people are, when the lawyers are, the judges are reading the law, when they are reading the judgment, they will abuse the lawyers.
I agree. That's why I say it's a distraction.
That's okay. That this is an abuse of court process.
If I got you right, you've tried to throw light on the moral side to this entire case. But you and I know that issues of law has nothing to do with morality. Basically, evidence is evidence-based.
It's evidence-based.
Okay?
Yes.
Now, the facts out there, and I believe those facts are genuine, is that the man enrolled sometime in 1976 for secondary school, to get into secondary school. He was there until about either 1980, and then his name disappeared from the list, from the register of Ede Muslim Grammar School in Ede. But the fact also...
And he also attempted to sit for NECO.
Yes, in 1981. Even though he didn't, so even though, let me
That's what I'm saying.
That's the moral side.
That's the moral side.
I just want to throw.
When you went to secondary school, the people you went to secondary school with.
I think we need to get
somebody that wants to govern us.
I think we
law
need to
is
get
different from morality. That's what we're saying. Let's face law.
And that's why I want to paint the picture clearly so that we have a better understanding of it. The moral element which you talked about is what we're trying to deal with here. The man enrolled. By 1980, he's no longer in the register, but he wrote the exam as confirmed by WAEC in 1981 because they brought their
to court.
The master sheet or
To
whatever
court.
to court, you know. But as the case is with our politicians, that result apparently was very bad. I think he had just one stuff or something like that. One result that wasn't very. Yeah, that's where
that's the law.
Yeah, that's where. Yeah,
the law didn't say you must pass.
Yeah, that's why
most of the
and
paper.
that is why what are you saying?
The law didn't say you must pass.
Yeah. But he
didn't write the law.
You're acting
that is one leg of it.
You are a lawyer to Senator Adeleke.
No. I'm talking about the facts.
You see,
we put sentiments to so many things. Let us stick to
we're
facts.
talking to Nigerians, and sometimes our children might be watching.
I agree.
Do you understand? These are not so.
That is more reason why we must. That's
that
more
somebody that
reason.
wants to lead me, somebody that wants to lead a state, is having.
I think I should be allowed to land. I think I should be allowed to land because we need to get the narrative correct. I mean, we've gotten up to 1981, where he was able to convince the rest of us that he actually sat for the exam, and whether he passed or failed is a different. But he sat. There's evidence that he passed the exam. Now, because he had intention to vie for the governorship seat, and he didn't think that result was good enough. That was what drove him into going to register to go and register for NECO sometime in 2017. Now, the moral side to it is that from evidence available, the man did not physically appear to write the exam. That is what the invigilators who were there, told the court and Nigerians. And that has not been controverted. But
don't forget, yesterday's case was for forgery. Now, what he presented to court is different from what
exactly
it was for forgery.
The clarification here.
There are two cases. The one that
aware of the second case.
I'm a journalist.
I'm even telling you.
I be aware?
And the way
you are be aware. I should be aware. What I'm saying is that the one that they got judgment in, it is a civil case. Two people from Osun.
You have forgery and exam malpractice.
Then there's another one that the police is running. It's different. But what I'm saying is, you know why I said you should not look at the moralities. I am looking at what we are discussing. What we are discussing is the judgment.
Yes, but we can't only from the
but what we are discussing is the judgment. And I said that judgment is a distraction because based on the facts.
Talk about the moral side.
No, morality is another matter.
Do me or talk about this moral side.
You see, let me tell you something. There's a difference between morality and law.
Legality, I know.
The legality of the judgment that we are discussing on this program today has to do with the legality or otherwise of that judgment. And I said, when I started, I said, for me, the real judgment, the real case is the appeal of Governor Oyetola to that judgment declaring Senator Adeleke as governor. That is the one we should concentrate on because that's the one that is very interesting. So that one, this one about whether he attended school start or not, to me, is a distraction because the law is very clear. No, because the law is very clear. Is that you must have education up to school start level, which he did. Whether he passed, whether he didn't pass, is another matter. Whether he now went in 2017 to want to write NECO using other people to write it for him, is another matter. But
that matter is out there.
But it is.
That matter is out there.
Is it not another matter? Is it the same matter? It's not the same matter.
It's a different matter altogether. But I want to hold this position that you can't divorce the issue of moral from the growth of any decent society. We cannot. But having said that, the matter before the court is the merit of the case. All right? The defense counsel has said, look, we have 3 grounds or 4 grounds upon which we think that this is travesty of justice. Now, that has to be tested. I think that our institutions should be tested. That way, we can only get better.
I agree.
That's my position on the matter.
I agree with you.
But we have to worry about what our politicians are doing desperation, going to any length. Adeleke's case wouldn't be the first time that the issue of certificate forgery is being discussed. So you ask yourself, why are our politicians getting so desperate?
Because that's the way
telling
we are.
lies.
That's the way we are.
Because if you do that and you get into power, then we can imagine the kind of service you're going to deliver to the people. You're going to be basically living a lie.
Let me give
That's
you,
the truth.
Okay.
We have to leave that. We have to leave that. Well, moving on now, Nigeria's political space reels with rich, the bad, and the ugly politicians who compete for relevance and patronage. Hence, achieving a vibrant democracy is somewhat Herculean for the country. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has asked leaders of the opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP, to purge the party of bad eggs and hypocrites. Obasanjo, who spoke on Sunday when he played host to PDP leaders from the Southwest at his residence in Abeokuta, said many leaders of the party are after their pockets and stomachs. And the word they say is enough for the wise.
And you agree with that? You agree with that statement?
It is
No, I'm asking a question. Did you agree with that statement?
Which statement now?
Olusegun Obasanjo is just, I don't know. He tore his party card.
I think you should know.
No, he tore his party card. And the last time I checked, he said he's not a PDP member.
Absolutely true.
But run up to 2019, the meeting with Atiku, his his campaign and his anti-APC poster and everything, it will be safe to say he's still one of their patrons and everything.
Maybe a fan.
No, they still go to consult him and everything. So now he's not telling them. I think PDP dissecting what happened in 2019. Because I've been hearing a lot of stories about what actually happened, what went down, how the monies that were meant to be distributed did not go down, and some people actually cornered the money, and it dealt a fatal blow on their candidates. Mayor.
What Obasanjo is saying, Obasanjo is somebody that I respect. When you have opportunity of ruling a country that long, both as a military head of state and two-term civilian president, of course, you will have influence. And people will come to you because, and don't forget that Obasanjo is the head boy of the military class. So he's a very powerful person. But sometimes,
I was demystified in 2019.
sometimes he enjoys himself at our expense.
I like that.
Yes, he enjoys himself at our expense. We overrate him and he just says whatever he likes. And we believe that when he's the oracle, we'll say this and all that. Sometimes he says certain things that are obvious. What he has said to PDP people, to me, he has not said anything. With all respect to Baba, because what he has described is not just to do with PDP. That is the way Nigerian politicians are.
Simple.
They are more interested in their stomach and their pockets. That is the reality. That's who we are. So both APC and PDP are guilty of that. So there is no difference. It's not because the politicians in PDP are more interested in their pocket and their stomach. That's why they lost the election. No. The same excuse that you claim that they claim that election money didn't trickle down, it happened in every party. There are some people who it is every 4 years that they collect their own share of the so-called national cake. You understand? The so-called party leaders who are not, that the only thing is just that they know how to rig and do that. They don't influence anybody. But they know the tricks and how to get people and all that. So every 4 years, they wait to collect their own share of the national cake and disappear with it. They will claim, oh, we need X amount of money for mobilization. But they are not mobilizing anybody, they are mobilizing themselves. Apart from the agents that they pay, if you say you want to mobilize people to vote, yes, because they've introduced vote buying to election in Nigeria, yes, people actually pay people to buy votes. But most of the money that they give to party leaders don't get to anybody because they believe that is their own share because they won't get another money until another 4 years. So Obasanjo has not said anything significant. He's just saying generally about the portrait of a Nigerian politician, including him, including Obasanjo himself.
Yeah,
He's guilty of everything he has accused these people of.
So,
yeah, I totally agree with what Mayor has said. the average politician, and in this case, the average Nigerian politician, is constantly seeking relevance. In the case of our respected Baba Olusegun Obasanjo, he just come out terribly injured from an election where he backed a candidate that the Independent National Electoral Commission says lost the polls. You know, but you don't expect a politician to keep short. I do know from my interactions that some of these meetings that you see where they make pronouncements are usually arranged. So when you hear that a certain class of people traveled all the way from wherever to go to Baba, it's arranged because Baba needs to speak. He needs to be relevant within the scheme of things. I don't see what is fresh in the statement that he uttered, that there are bad eggs in PDP. It's no news. There are bad eggs everywhere. In corporate Nigeria, there are bad eggs. Within the political system, there are bad eggs. Within OBJ's house, there are bad eggs. So I think it's all about seeking relevance. And I think it has to come clear. He talked about hypocrisy. I mean, who is a hypocrite? You're not a member of PDP and you are constantly, speaking and aligning yourself with the opposition party. Nothing wrong, but I think that he needs to overcome the shame of tearing his party card or membership card publicly. I think that is what he's struggling with. Otherwise, in body, in spirit, I think that the former head of state, President Olusegun Obasanjo, is a full-time member of PDP. Yes, he can continue to grandstand and say things are wrong and all that. But I think that the events of yesterday, or was it 2 days ago, was arranged for him to speak up so that he is not seen as somebody who has been wounded and consigned to the dustbin of history.
The president has not even spoken about him after they won the election.
It has to do with the tradition in the military. Obasanjo is the president's boss. When you look at the hierarchy in the military, and you cannot be seen to, because I have to commend the president, they have shown a lot of maturity, because Obasanjo has taxed his patience to no end, issuing letters, statements, accusing him of different things, abusing him different times.
They were in Senegal,
but
all smiles in
Senegal. But he has not formally replied to Obasanjo even once, which is very nice, which shows that the tradition in the military and the respect that they give to commanders is still there. You understand? Like I said, he's an elder statesman that converts to him some privileges, and I think that is what he's enjoying. And like my brother said,
don't you think he should?
Like my brother said,
he should stand above party
I believe so.
affiliation.
I believe so. I believe so. I believe that there are certain
the
things.
The posture of Yakubu Gowon,
yes,
Abdusalam Abubakar,
I believe that
people
the
like
position,
that,
yes,
don't need to.
I believe the position is, it should rise above this pettiness and become a statesman, so that when he make pronouncements, it carry weight. People will believe that Obasanjo has spoken, and people will take it seriously. But now, when you say something regularly, it gets to say that people will just dismiss it. I don't mind Baba. Because Baba said more than this. They said more than this when he was describing Atiku. The same person told us Atiku has been forgiven and Atiku is better than Buhari. Still repeatedly that Atiku is better than Buhari. So you cannot tell us anything. We are used to Baba telling us different things. So it depends on what suits him. It's from that prism that he will look at the issue. And I don't think that is right. I think that God has favored him and put him in a position where he should rise and become a statesman, like a father of the nation, because nobody have the kind of opportunity to steer the affairs of this state like him. So he cannot be seen to be partisan. Yes, he can come out, and if he believes that the ship of state is drifting, it is his duty to come out to say, look, I think this government is not doing the right thing. I don't have any problem with that. But when you become partisan and you criticize the government all the time and try to show, though, like you said, that you are not a member of the PDP, but you are more or less, when you look at your body language and your pronouncement, you are more like you should not get into the fray. You should rise above that, so that when he says things, we can take him seriously.
Ultimately, when you want to look at what happened in 2019, in 2015, the gap between, after the 2015 election, the gap between APC and PDP, was a little bit wide. And I think the PDP closed up the gap in 2019. When you look at the number of states they won, when you look at their representation in the National Assembly, when you look at the way they were able to, they didn't win the presidential election. But
they did very well.
They did very well. APC lost some grounds.
True.
Yielded places like Bauchi, Adamawa to,
Sokoto.
Oyo, Sokoto to them, which is a fatal blow. Now, when you want to look at the future of the People's Democratic Party in 2023, what do you make of this? A party that can still bounce back to power?
Yeah, at the moment, what I see is a party that is enjoying some level of cohesion. That is what I see at the moment. Are they going to be able to sustain the momentum? It's a different question. I'm not a seer. I can't see it 4 years from now. But at the moment, I think they are getting their acts right. It's showing the fact that not too many things, rather, are coming from different officials of that party. They seem to have just a position, a unified position on a lot of issues. And I think that clearly tells any discerning mind that the party is intent on holding its own, together. Now, if they sustain that, like I've said, I think the party, will go very, very far. The other thing I would want to recommend to them is, I think we should begin to see ideology as central to any part, to parties. I find that missing within our polity. The PDP can help itself by taking a critical look at the way it's run its affairs and the kind of values that it hopes and intends will drive that political party. I see the ruling party doing that, of recent. I've heard the party chairman talk about, progressivism. I've heard Ahmed Bola Tinubu, Asiwaju, talk about progressive, politics. And I think that they can push that. I've heard them say, look, we can't let our economy open to just any person. I think we need a bit of regulation. I believe that if PDP takes a position on its value systems, on its ideologies, then that party will go far. It can then begin to gather a critical mass of Nigerians who share their beliefs, who share their worldview, and then hold that, community as truly theirs. That way, I think they could bounce back. The gap is closing. How well they're able to sustain that will depend on a lot of hard work and unified position.
I see a party that is gaining momentum. And I think in 2023, PDP will really give APC a run for its money. Because 4 years ago, a lot of us thought PDP was dead. Because even after the election, they have these post-election problems, and they kept fighting themselves, and they couldn't. But eventually, they were able to solve that problem, organize that coalition, and they did very well in this election. They did very well. Yes, they didn't win the presidency, but they did very well. And APC has to put his house in order.
Not much of public disagreements, at least in the last...
That's what I'm saying, yes. Yeah. And then part of it is that the people are not very happy with APC. APC has not fulfilled all its promises to Nigerians. So that accounts for the momentum for PDP.
The loss of ground.
Yes, or loss of grounds to PDP. So APC has to do more work and try to fulfill their contract with the Nigerian people.
I want to thank you, Sam. Ndume. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Of the show.
Always
and
my pleasure.
himself. Thank you. Hoping that Babajide Kolade Ositoju will join us very soon. Once again, I tell our viewers that have been asking me, where's Jide? Where's Jide? Jide is going to be back very soon. And that's it on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on our other platforms showing on the screen. We're also on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.